my degree is in learning and teaching in emergent technologies. So what I did with this, and I'm using multiple screens right now. So if I run into you, Cooper, I'm sorry.
Okay, just run me.
So basically, the one thing about the virtual world that's very important to know about training potential is that it's almost, I mean, a lot of it is free to try out. You can create an avatar. You can visit a lot of worlds. Kitely, in particular, is very business friendly, family friendly. A lot of educational institutions use this. They have a lot of options, low cost. You can get a region that has 4 different islands. So the region is huge. And this is $20 a month for this huge 4-region island. This building is only on a very small portion of it, and it has many, many resources within it. So the exciting thing about this is you don't need a big space. So even if you didn't want to invest in a whole island, you can actually rent a piece or have, because there's a very large network in the open sim community where you can go to someone else's island. They can help create a space for you for meetings, and you don't even have to make an initial investment. So when it comes to a lot of software that you're using to design virtual worlds or design training, a lot of that software, like I tried out Toonly. You're paying $60 for a program that you don't know if it's going to be effective. So with the virtual world, you can, and I have some examples here, you can use these to create training modules. You can use them to bring teams across distances together. You can use them to create training videos. You can do team building exercises, whether it's virtual teams or maybe you have some teams that want to meet in person. So you can do mix. People can meet in Zoom like we're doing and still share the virtual world. There is a learning curve, but there's a lot of resources out there. So I have 3 different websites that I use. And a lot of people have created the training to get people beyond that initial learning curve, and they've made it open source. So all of this training is out there at no cost. So for example, now, Yogini, what you do is you're just looking to work with different companies. What type of fields are the companies that you're currently working with? What type of fields are they in?
Anything from aerospace, aviation to financial services.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we actually have many worlds in Kitely, which is actually, we have the Air and Space Museum, which is a free world to visit. We have the Mars simulation, which is a free world to visit. So creators have already created these and they're sharing them for educators, and that works out for training too. So within the OpenSim community, you can visit these worlds, create your own, or have someone assist you in creating, because there is a lot of open source, but also the Kitely market. There's a lot of creators that will very inexpensively assist you through the whole process. Now, what I have here is, I'm going to go upstairs.
Can I ask you a basic question? Did
yes.
you say Kitely, so Kitely?
Kitely.com. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And with OpenSim, if your company wants to create their own virtual world and not use a server, you can do that. But there are services out there where they'll put you on secure servers. You can create them privately. So if you research Kitely, you'll see your options. It's just there's so many options within. So even if your company is doing it privately on your own servers, which gives you that extra layer of protection, you still have access to all of the creators, the content creators, and the curriculum design creators that just do this for fun. I do it for fun. So this was actually Empire State College And what I've done is, so you see, you can get this lab. There is a free world that you can download, which is a whole huge laboratory. There's another free world, which is, so I've taken free worlds and I've combined them. So almost all the stuff that you see here is free content that I've collected from many different free resources. So you can set up classrooms. Now you see I'm in a wheelchair. And so this helps with, I've actually created ability simulations where my avatar can be in a wheelchair, or I can have crutches, and I have to navigate through small spaces. I added the sensitivity training where if you hit a wall, you know, someone might make a rude comment to you. So you can do things like that. But I want to show you, when you're in a classroom environment, you can actually use presentations. So this right here is an actual computer in the virtual world where you can have a teacher up front. They can be showing presentations, and you can give them a website, and they can actually go right to the web. Now it's taking a while. There we go. So this is my my website that I've put on as one of the home ones, but they can navigate the web right from the virtual world. So yeah.
Even aesthetically, you put it together so
now,
nicely.
I made this world in 2020. Things are advancing so quickly. You see all these static avatars. You can interact with them. However, we now have avatars that are non-player characters that actual move, and you can put animations in. So when you're interacting with them, they look like real people. They're not statues. I did a lot with gamification. So there's quizzes that you can use. There you can put in different types of presentations. It'll take you right to web pages. You can put in bulletin boards that have pictures or post-it notes. You can put in slideshows that when you click on, you can interact with them. So the teacher can have all the students sitting. You can interact with your environment. You can, there's different ways you can do it. So other than the non-moving characters, you can have ones that form from, so this one's taking a while to load, but there's just a lot of different tools you can use. So I presented at a lot of global conferences, gamification, things like that. So in what you're doing, are you thinking of having more of a classroom environment, or are you thinking of doing more simulation, maybe role playing? You know, what is it, some things you're thinking about?
So currently in VR, so 6 Degrees of Freedom, and we've built an entire campus on, oh my gosh, it's Adept, but I know the actual Unity, there you go, on the standard sort of VR platform. But it has, you know, various kinds of venues. It's both instructor-led training as well as simulations, solo and social learning.
Excellent. OpenSim is fully compatible with Blender and Unity.
Nice.
So
Okay.
those three, if you create something in Blender, you can use it in OpenSim. If you create something in Unity, there was some programs out there that people developed where you could actually take a OpenSim virtual world and load it into Unity, and vice versa, by using a program. I don't know if that is still up to date, but 3 years ago they were talking about that. And the thing to keep in mind about OpenSim, and it's a great aspect. Right now, one problem with OpenSim and using the VR headsets is the frame ratio. If you're in a headset, the frame ratio is slower, so you have the whole problem with seasickness, basically motion sickness. But it is Kitely is, you know, they have weekly meetings, and one thing that they've been saying is, with how quickly technology is moving, that's soon going to be no longer an issue. So rather than having your team spend all of their resources creating Unity, they can create a virtual world or get people who want to volunteer and show off their talents to create it for them. And just by entering the virtual world, you can quickly change things, you can swap things out, you can update them, and you're not having to redesign the whole thing every single time you do that. So what I can do,
yeah, if I can say, Bruce and I, time, we kind of steered away from that with his company and have stayed away from it just because most training departments don't have their own IT people assigned to training. And Unity, you really, I mean, you would have to have an IT engineer to move, or software engineer to move a couch from one place to another, or to put up a new presentation screen. It's like, I'm not wasting my resources on that, when in these worlds, you can buy a couch for nothing or get them for free and take them into your inventory and put them anywhere you want. And many times you can, make as many copies of it as you want and put them all over the place. So there's the question of how you're spending your resources. Unity does a lot of the same things visually that are used to that you can do in these open sim worlds, but it's just much more limiting for the trainer to be able to go in and control what's there and move it around and change it. So that was a real plus from our point of view.
Yep. And I have created a movie, within this. So like this is like just a little medical scene. And on this world, you've got lots of, let me quickly run over here. There's a movie scene where you can actually, so you got the inventory lodge, virtual comms, and there's training right in here for movement as well. Lots of resources. So over here is a movie set, and it has its own little theater where you can actually go in and watch the movie. So if you have a movie, and if you can't do a live class, this is good for independent living. When they have time, they can come in here. You can have arrows on the ground. You can have instructional, things up. They can come in. They can watch movies. They can do quizzes. So there is quizzes that can be programmed into. So, like for example, this is my movie that I made, and this movie set was actually created in this upper area right here. And so it takes them to a YouTube site, and they can watch the movie right on this big screen with, by themselves or with other people. So I know, Cooper, I'm zipping around here.
It's fun trying to follow you.
Well, I'm going to go to the train station now.
I'll see.
With navigation, it's really easy because you can have teleports put out. They can use the map to navigate. So as they become more and more used to the virtual world, it's a lot easier for them to move. Or you can have a beginner status. Now, what Carla and Bruce are going to show you in a little while is great for those beginners. But like, for example, this one has navigations to the ability simulation, a fitness simulation, a nutrition simulation. Now, the nutrition one has a gamification. So it's actually at McDonald's. Let me find it here. I think this one is. That one is.
Example of small games.
Okay, that's for that one. Lobby.
What you just saw there is what we call a note card that as an instructor or designer you can put into an object, and whenever people click, that will come up, and if they accept it, it will be saved in their avatar's inventory so they can keep it. It'll stay there until they delete it. So we're starting to put some, curricular information, course information that we want people to keep in there, and then we have other things that won't be kept, dialogue stuff or little scenario stuff, but the core curricula information that we want them to have, we can put into note cards, or they can also download it from a Google Doc or something like that.
So is there an admin panel that they can sort of manage? And
an admin panel?
Yeah, or a collection of sorts that they are then in terms of what they have access to.
I think if you open the inventory, in the inventory, it's sort of like you create your own folders and it's a drag and drop kind of thing.
Okay.
Note cards will automatically go into the note card folder. That's a default setting in there. But you can create, I've got multiple subfolders in my note card folders, and you can also move anything to any place you want, and that's where it'll be when you come back to it. But so you can see what she had there. It had all of those folders, and it's just drag and drop. It's actually very much like Word or going into an Microsoft Windows kind of thing, or like file folders thing in her inventory. Now, this recent tab that she's on, you get new that comes to you while you're in there. Will go into the recents. Once you exit out, you close the program, you'll have to go find it in your regular inventory. You can put it somewhere at that time, but as long as you're in there, if you want to go back to something you just got during the last session, it'll be there until you log off. So that can be very convenient for people too.
So
I have a question, Saley. Are you saying that you develop for the trainers to know how to, move a couch or build another room, or is it?
These are this is for everybody, because a lot of high school teachers, we have elementary level, we have college level trainers. So my goal was showing as many examples as you can of how the virtual world could be used for education. So there is.
So your target was the teacher.
Right. So everything is basically examples. Now I use some with my autistic daughter, and I did some of the gameplay with her because at the time I was homeschooling. So my idea at the beginning was to show this to try to develop resources, for example, like Minecraft and Roblox, that has a lot of educational following now. This is basically what's going to happen in this environment is you're going to get people who, when they discover it, then they're going to start using this just like they use the Minecraft educational packages. But there's so much more you can do in this environment. Because I recruit for a global company, I see a lot of use with this with sensitivity training as well, because you can assign avatars anonymity. So they can come in, you can give them an avatar, they can come in. And so then when you're having discussions about sexual harassment or discussions about cultural awareness, you can make them disabled, you can make them a female if they're a male. We're trying to get more and more avatars that are not so sexualized as females, which is great about how well Kitely and some of these other OpenSim companies and creators are. We're getting more and more educators who are creating more realistic avatars. So you'll see that when you visit Carla and Bruce's world, you'll see pregnant women and different ethnic people rather than, that whole adult content. With Second Life has given the virtual world a very bad name. But with Kitely and OpenSim, because they have actually designed their whole business around educators and business people, they have a great support system where you have a lot of security in your environment. And again, once you learn this environment, you can always save the worlds, and those worlds are yours. Unlike in Second Life, you don't own the world. You can't save it on your computer. So if you ever wanted to use your own server or have people download a world and use it on their computer without having to be in an open environment, you can do that. You don't lose what you create. You can back it up and save it. And that's very important for training resources. Is there anything else, Yogini, that you might want to see that I might have an example of?
I'm curious about the quizzes that you mentioned. Whether you get this question, all three of you, is around metrics and assessments and capturing KPIs. So
Okay, that's perfect. So let me go ahead and get back to, there's different ways to gauge metrics. Okay, so let me stop flying here. You can have programs, and a lot of this scripting you don't have to do yourself. There's open source scripting available. So for example, if you're in a group environment, you can do peer feedback. So if you have them creating their own presentation and submitting it here, you can upload it and you can use a voting script. So the scripts only allow one vote. So that's one way that you can do peer feedback, and they can actually do something like this and vote for, whether or not they like it. It gives instant feedback. There are quizzes. Now, the great thing about this is with these quizzes, you can have it send you emails. Let me see where I remember where I put all these. So there's different types of
collect the responses.
Yeah. So if you ever run into scripting issues, because this is open source scripting, kind of like a Linux, there are people who are experts in scripting. Oops. And they can always troubleshoot with you as well, or design it themselves. So different types of avatars will have different, you can program them in whether you want to say something. Now, when you're gauging something and they're supposed to read something, before they can continue, they would have to put in the specific answer. You can also do reward systems. So they might, if they get a quiz correct, 10 questions, they receive an object. So those are other ways of doing it. You can do point systems. So I have something really simple as scavenger hunts, where you collect tokens. There are scripts for monetary systems. So there's all of those are out there. Basically, you can search Kitely Market. You can find them on open source websites, or some that get outdated. I have a whole gaming system which I have up for people to copy. That is no longer supported by its creator. However, I've taken those scripts and I've reprogrammed them, and there's a lot of people. So you don't have to learn scripting. There's so many people out there who will, help you with that.
And those are often, that you might out there and you can just get it for free. We also, Bruce and I are working with someone who does special scripting, custom design stuff for us. But, so we'll pay her based on how long it takes her. We usually negotiate that. But compared to what you would normally pay for somebody to do that kind of, development work for you, it's relatively inexpensive. I think just because people love working in here, it's that, the evangelist phase of development. Everybody who's doing this really sees the value and really enjoys it and wants to make it work. So they want to, they're intrigued with trying to make something that'll do something different, new, and they do it in here for fun, but they also have to get paid because they need to eat.
Yep. But it's
still cheaper than what you would do in more normal computer programming kinds of stuff.
There's even artificial intelligent interaction. So you can have an AI bot in here. This is an AI bot I purchased, and when you talk with it, it actually responds using AI programming. Or if you want to control it specifically, this one is a scripted AI bot. So you have to ask it certain things, and then it responds based on what you ask it, but it's not connected to an outside artificial intelligence website.
So is it branching scenarios created?
Yep.
Yeah.
So for example, I don't want to scare you, but as the owner of this, oops. All right. So this is the Chatty Parrot script. And so it's really simple programming. or if, that type of thing. But like I said, this was an open source script that I got, and then all I did is go in and I customized it. And there's whole databases out there full of free open source scripting. So you're not going to be investing a lot of money when you're creating this. So, and these are background noises, so you can make it as customized as you'd like. Now, this is a autism simulation where sometimes the background noise can be very disruptive. And so they can go in here with a coach or by themselves, and they have tasks that they have to complete. They have to look at these people and determine social cues. So they can answer questions, they can give feedback. So this is the feedback magazine. And
so those are hotspots where if they click on the question, they would see.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they can turn off and on the background noise if it's too difficult to concentrate. So there's now I don't remember because I'm a little bit, my nerves have gotten to me, but there is like a board that you can click on that's quizzes. I have one of them. So it's basically like one of these boards, and when you click on it, it asks you a question, and you can go through 10 answer quiz, and at the end it can either reward you with an object or give you information so that as an instructor, you can program it, like I said, to email the instructor with the grade. You have to meet a minimum grade. It records who did it so that they can't just keep doing it or guessing. So there's all those built into the opportunities. Basically anything you can do in a classroom and more you can do here, because you're no longer constrained to distance or making sure everyone is here all at once. But you can have some groups that are in Zoom